Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Midwest Coaster Matador here, or MC Matador if you'd like to refer me to that. And I'm here today after a 1 month long, I'm gonna start my summer break and I'm gonna be really lazy hiatus. That and dealing with graduation and all that stuff. Top 150 Coaster Countdown Calamity, Part 4, entries 105 to 91. So, little prelude. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of these kind of videos. I'm pretty sure it's been 3 months since I've uploaded another entry of this Countdown Calamity, and since then, all the way back in March, mind you, I have ridden Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida's collection of coasters, which I believe is 7 credits total. I did not ride Barnstormer, but none of these coasters will appear anywhere on the list. This list is, as I intended it to be, a compilation from only the end of the 2018 season, not including any of the rides I will ride in 2019, which will include Walt Disney World, which will include Max Force when I eventually get onto that. Done full circuit testing, so small wins for Max Force. Oh, and I decided, it's not listed, but I decided halfway through making this thing that I'm going to change my margin system. Instead of using a raw placement like a -11 or a +3 in terms of net gain or net loss in position, I decided to do it based off percentile, which is a more statistically significant way of noting differences in rank, which this entire thing is just one big rank order. So you'll be given in most entries a percentile, where in the percentile it stood. If you don't know anything about percentile, I'd highly recommend looking it up. It's not a hard concept to grasp, but you'll kind of understand it. Basically, if you're in the 100th percentile, you're number 1, and anything lower, you are like basically if you're in the 38th percentile, like one of the rides in here was in, you're better than 38% of the list behind you. With that out of the way, let's get this going. Number 105 is Carolina Gold Rusher with a net 2 percentile gain, +2 percentile gain in from 2016. Now, yeah, I've done another 2 years of coaster riding, but this is probably still, by a slim margin, my favorite mine train. It was surprisingly fast. The layout wasn't terrible, and I actually didn't get a lot of banging on it. Not until I sat in the very, very back row when I was assigned there at one point, because reasons. And the gain the gain is likely due to former superiors falling. Like you'll see quite a few net losses in the previous part, if I remember correctly, like the boomerangs. I'm not going to really talk as much about the gains from now on. You can kind of envision it. A lot of them are because of the competition, but some I will mention some if they went up because I liked it more. I did a couple rethinking, or I wrote some things for comparison. But Carolina Gold Rusher, a minor gain from the 24th percentile to the 26th percentile. So it is better than 26% of every coaster I've written, which is kind of sad if you think about it. Yeah, that just goes to show how many stinkers there are out there. Number 104 is Carolina Cyclone with a 14.5 percentile gain, going from the 12.5 percentile, which is like the bottom 1/8 of all my coasters that I've ridden, all the way up to the 27th percentile. The biggest change of heart of any coaster thus far on this list. It went from a forgettable aero looper to probably the best one I've ridden. Like, this thing was really good. Bigger brothers, like Viper and Vortex, even better than those. 2 simple reasons. I love the pacing, the intensity, and the smoothness was, well, kind of what you expect from an aero of this age. It wasn't particularly terrible, but I like the intensity in this thing. The pacing, the intensity, this thing was surprisingly quick and forceful. There's no mid-course brake run. You are chugging through that second half of the layout when in typical aero terms, like back at my home park with Demon, you have a mid-course that slams you to a stop. Nope. You're taking 2 corkscrews and a double helix at full speed. And you're pulling some pretty good G's with that as well, I will add. So overall, I definitely think this is a pretty good aero looper, and probably, like I said, one of the best ones I've ridden. So, yeah, big change of heart on this guy. Number 103 to 100 are various standard wild mice, which include Sand Serpent at Busch Gardens Tampa, Ricochet at Carowinds, Mad Mouse at Valley Fair, a new challenger, and Wild Mouse at Hershey Park. Nothing has changed in the order except for Mad Mouse being among the better of them. I honestly liked the Aero Mouse quite well. The capacity was worse than the Mac Mice, but honestly, it was a pretty decent Wild Mouse. I came off of it pleasantly surprised. And Wild Mouse at Hershey Park is still my favorite. I kind of enjoy Wild Mice. I'm not really I just kind of enjoy them. They're kind of a guilty pleasure, but they're still not quality rides. My rationale stays pretty much the same over the past 2 years, and they have a net percentile gain of 2.5 to 2.75 each, with Wild Mouse at Hershey Park only going up the extra 0.25 because of Mad Mouse's inclusion. I did not include their 2016 rank, but you can kind of imagine. Or you can go back and watch those videos, that'd be nice. Number 99 is in Vertigo at Kings Island. Still enjoyable boomerang style and probably my favorite boomerang I've ever ridden, but I liked it a little less in my second ride than I did in my first ride back in 2015. It's still, like I said, my favorite boomerang coaster in existence, despite the net loss of 2.25 percentile rank, going from the 32.75 percentile in 2016 to the 30.5 percentile in 2018. That's all I really have to say about Vertigo. It's just a boomerang, but inverted, and it's surprisingly better than the rest. Number 98 is Pony Express. Fun, albeit gimmicky, family ride for Southern California, and a decent family ride for Knott's Berry Farm, a pretty good park in its end over there. I do like the niche it fills, but it wasn't satisfying. The launch wasn't by any means intense. The layout just kind of meanders about. Really, the only thing that was really noteworthy on the ride was the fact that it's a motorbike coaster, and it was my first one I've ever done. So, yay? I mean, I haven't, considering the other motorbike coasters are in like Europe, or there's Steeplechase at Coney Island, and there's motor coaster at Darien Lake, which are clones. This is, my first motorbike coaster, and I do like it. It's kind of comfortable, but also kind of unique. So I look forward to riding more motorbike coasters as time passes. They're great rides. I can imagine them being great rides. This one, like I said, is just one big gimmick, and it also has pretty poor capacity. I also got a walk-on front row in this thing because nobody filled the front row because it was way far in the station. Station ingenuity was probably at a -3 in terms of rating for this because, oh dear. Yeah, Knott's Berry Farm was crammed for space to begin with. Number 97 is Gemini. A vintage ride I may have ranked a bit too high, which explains the -2.5 percentile loss going from 33.5 to the 31st percentile. I love the history, I love the story behind it, I love Ron Toomer as a guy, and the fact that this is one of his favorite creations ever is fantastic. It's a great story and a heartwarmer for any coaster enthusiast, but this ride is becoming increasingly obsolete. It's not necessarily in the ace it or replace it category just yet. This thing can definitely keep clunking on for several more years without the need to tear it out first. It's not in the number 1 get rid of it now list, especially since it can't really be occupied by anything maybe like other than a Gerstlauer or Infinity if it were to be replaced, and that's not really going to fill any holes in the lineup, isn't it? But I will say that this is one of 3 hybrid coasters at Cedar Point by technicality, with wood support and steel track, and the much, 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 much superior hybrid is a little further up the midway in Frontier Town. So go check out that one. You'll see that way later on the list. So yeah. And also I do want to say that when I go to Cedar Point, this thing rarely has more than a 15-minute wait, which kind of shows its increasing obsolescence. Number 96 is American Eagle with another pretty steep drop from a -6.5 percentile, going from the 38.5 to the 32nd percentile. Once again, I do get to rant about the neglected, antiquated Woody that's stuck with the obnoxiously long queue line at the back of my home park. You can see it from a lot of places outside the park. It's awesome to look at it from Washington Street, from I-94. It looks good, but it rides. Oof. The thing will be turning 40 years old in 2020 or 2021 because its opening year was 1981. It had a lot of potential, or it does still have a lot of potential in the layout, but really, it just doesn't get properly taken care of. Nor does Viper, really, which you'll see later on. It did get a new coat of paint, as much as they can get with Six Flags budget. It does look pretty spiffy with the new coat of paint if you don't look through the supports towards the middle, but it really doesn't get much track work. It jackhammers in the next week. This thing's been suffering a pretty decent amount of downtime for the 2019 season, and for the fact that it also hasn't been dueling consistently, maybe other than weekends, and like a couple stray days in the middle of the summer thus far. But when I'm at Great America, I tend to pass on this thing more often than I ride it. In fact, I haven't ridden it at all in 2019. Which, I mean, I just expect it to be another jackhammery ride. It's still a good ride by means, but I honestly think it's definitely showing its age and definitely needs some TLC, which it won't get. I'm just going to be honest. Sad boys. Number 95 to 92 are various Gerstlauer 424, also known as Pandemonium models, with Six Flags New England's Pandemonium being last at 95, followed by St. Louis's Pandemonium, followed by a newcomer in Fairly Odd Coaster at Nickelodeon Universe, followed by Pandemonium at Six Flags Fiesta Texas, the most antiquated one I've ridden, but also the best because of the experience. Now, I do say that I used to like Pandemonium in New England more than I do now. I didn't really spin much at all, and it was a bit more clunky. I also just don't think the green and orange freaking carrots and broccoli vegetable stew color scheme works as well as the spiffy red and black. Because that red and black is a really good color scheme. Those are also going to be soon to be my college colors, so good on me. Fairly Odd Coaster I found to be above average, and I did get some decent spin on it. I mean, despite them being identical, but Fiesta Texas is going to hold, the Pandemonium there holds a little bit of a special spot in my heart. Not only did it was my first, probably, not my first ever spinning coaster, but probably my first ever Gerstlauer. I also got to take my mom on this thing, and she was freaking out the whole way through. Well, me and my younger brother, when I was only 13 at the time, my younger brother being 11 at the time, just were laughing at her terror as well as just having a good time on the ride. And that was barely any weight. So overall, it was a pretty good experience. And it definitely holds a bit of a special spot in my heart. And speaking of Gerstlauer and Nickelodeon Universe, we are going to cap out Nickelodeon Universe's run in the list at number 91, the SpongeBob SquarePants Rock Bottom Plunge. A better Euroflyer than Untamed, but still a short and clunky ride. I do like that it's indoors, so you get some near misses with the ceiling on the lift hill, with the paint job, with the supports even. And, I mean, honestly, it just has that. It's still a quality ride. It was probably my longest wait all at the time as well there. Because, well, I think I went on like a Monday or something, in the Monday afternoon, directly after doing Valley Fair. This thing was quite nice, but still, it's just okay, I guess. And it's definitely a ride you don't really feel the need to ride more than once. Not only because it's kind of just a mediocre ride with not a lot of re-rideability potential unless you're a native. It also only has 2 rows, so you barely get any different experience. That and the operations are a little shoddy on this thing, as to be expected with a thing that can only run 8 people per train. And also, yeah, one and done, that also kind of describes the entirety of Nickelodeon Universe. It's sad to say that 2 of the flat rides, being TMNT Shell Shock and Brain Surge, I enjoyed more than their coaster collection. Because those 2 flat rides don't exist in many other places in America, being a Chance Unicoaster and a Gerstlauer Skyflyer. I love those types of rides, and I really hope we can see more than America. But unfortunately, they're stuck in the middle of Minnesota, within a park you can't even get a season pass for, and you have to put down $40 to ride every time. So, yeah. Rest in peace to the Unicoaster and the Gerstlauer Skyroll, or Skyfly, or whatever it is. The one where you have the wings and you can control it by pushing up and down the wings and you can flip or get some serious hang time. Yeah, that one. Look it up. It's a fantastic ride. Either way, that's going to be it for part 4 of my top 150 coaster Countdown Calamity. I hope to be a little more active in the summer than I already have been. I'm already like halfway through June, so that's pretty impressive, but also pretty sad. My summer's going to end in only 2 months, and I really want to try and get this series done, so I'm going to have to put in some extra effort. I'm also going to try and get to Great American next week, but don't know when because I don't know my work schedule yet. Other than that, you don't really need to know that much. But if you did enjoy the video, feel free to like, comment, or subscription. It does kind of mean something to me. I hope you guys have a great insert unit of time here. Happy summer, because I've been able to say that since I just barely left school. And as always,